In 1859, the most controversial scientific theory in human history was missing a critical piece of evidence, pushing its creator to the edge of failure. While the global elite mocked his ideas, a mysterious find in rural Nova Scotia changed everything. Charles Darwin held a secret close to his chest, one that came straight from Canadian soil, proving him right when everyone thought it was impossible. This is the untold story of the hidden Canadian discovery that saved the theory of evolution, and the corporate and academic betrayal they tried to bury. Topic 1. The Joggins Cliffs and the missing link of the planet. To start unpacking this fascinating mystery, we've got to travel back in time to the cold, biting wind of the jaw-dropping Joggins Cliffs, right here in our own beloved Nova Scotia. Back in the mid-1800s, the world was going through some pretty intense changes, and those rocks were sitting on a discovery that would end up reshaping global biology forever. Man, those Canadian cliffs were packed with fossilized trees still standing upright, laying bare untouched layers from an ancient geological era that nobody over in Europe could quite wrap their heads around. The place looked like a natural archive frozen in time, just waiting for the right set of eyes to come along and unlock the answers about our own existence. Honestly, that untouched landscape is basically the perfect metaphor for our own financial and personal lives, where the biggest growth opportunities are usually hiding right under our noses without us even noticing. In game-changing books that shape visionary minds, like the acclaimed Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, we learn that the average person only ever looks at the obvious, while the real investor studies the invisible structures underneath. If you actually want to transform your reality starting today, the real trick is to stop chasing surface-level trends and start digging into solid fundamentals, putting your money into real tangible assets. That chunk of Canadian rock was holding on to the biggest biological record humanity had ever seen, challenging old dogmas and clearing the way for a whole new understanding of nature. That massive, mysterious gray stretch by the sea was hiding a find so wild that local geologists were left completely speechless the moment they cleared away the first layers of sediment from those rock walls. Here's the raw truth. That paleontological treasure wasn't just accumulated dust. It was the physical, undeniable proof that major scientific theories had been missing all along. Whenever the truth finally decides to surface from the depths, it tends to shake up the folks who'd rather stay cozy with old lies and outdated traditions. Those fossils were about to cross the Atlantic Ocean in complete secrecy, kicking off a quiet, high-stakes correspondence that would change the life of an isolated scientist back in England. Topic 2. The secret letter that saved the theory of evolution. When Charles Darwin was getting ready to publish his most famous work on evolution, he was staring down a nightmare of a dilemma, one that kept him up at night and threatened to tank his entire reputation. Man, the harshest critics of the time were demanding rock-solid physical evidence, a clear geological record showing the gradual transition of living things across the Earth's ages. That's when a confidential letter straight out of Nova Scotia crossed the ocean and landed in the scientists' hands like a genuine academic miracle. That letter laid out the exact details of the Joggins find, handing over the missing piece that would perfectly fill the biggest gap in his revolutionary theory. Honestly, this turning point teaches us something huge about preparation and opportunity in our own hunt for personal success and financial freedom. In life-changing books that shape great mindsets, like the classic The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason, it's crystal clear that luck is really nothing more than preparation, meeting the right moment. If you want to put that lesson into practice today, start by mapping out strategic partnerships outside your usual circle, seeking out people who hold the missing pieces your business model needs. That detailed report on every single Canadian fossil gave Darwin the exact ammunition he needed to face down the judgment of the world's intellectual elite. The British naturalist was so blown away that he made a point of including that incredible geological discovery right in the defining pages of his book, cementing Canadian soil forever as the guardian of biological truth. Here's the raw truth. Without the precise data secretly sent from that faraway colony, The most revolutionary theory in modern history might have been buried for lack of solid proof. Whenever a big idea gets the right validation at its weakest moment, it gains an unstoppable momentum, strong enough to smash through the barriers of time and prejudice. But that quiet alliance between the scientist and Nova Scotia's geology was about to stir up the fury of powerful people who'd do anything to keep it under wraps. If you're impressed by how Canadian soil changed science on a global scale, and you want to dig up more secrets that the textbooks try to keep hidden, join our community and hit subscribe right now. We're on a steady climb toward our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and we want to prove that Canadians support deep historical content. Your click is the vote of confidence we need to keep bringing these truths to light. Topic 3. The scientific elite and the attempt to bury the truth. Right after these new ideas dropped, a massive wave of cultural and religious shock swept through the major academic and religious centers across 19th century Canada. The traditional scientific elite, deeply attached to dogmatic, old-school views of creation, saw that stunning Nova Scotia fossil as a serious threat to the established social order. Several museum directors and influential university professors started working behind the scenes to discredit the geological reports and write the discovery off as a grotesque misinterpretation. The system's clear goal was to throw up a thick smokescreen, trying to keep that secret locked away, far from public debate. Honestly, this pushback teaches us a deep lesson about how the market and old established structures tend to react violently whenever a disruptive innovation threatens the status quo. In works that revolutionized how we understand business and modern strategy, like the brilliant The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill, it's obvious that mediocre minds will always try to sabotage ideas they can't wrap their heads around. If you want to apply that winning mindset to your own projects today, get ready to tune out the loud critics who are scared of change and focus purely on the strength of your metrics and the real value you deliver. The academic conspiracy tried to use every ounce of institutional influence it had to shut down that new science for good. The pressure from conservatives was so intense that several scientific papers detailing the significance of those cliffs got shelved and locked away in dark drawers for decades on end. Here's the raw truth. The powerful people of the time knew that if that Canadian geological evidence ever went public, the foundation of a lot of long-held certainties would come crashing down like a house of cards in the wind. Whenever an influential group tries to hide a groundbreaking fact, it usually just stirs up even more curiosity and opens the door for bold investigators to go find the answers themselves. But time is the ultimate judge, and that hidden force Darwin defended so fiercely behind closed doors was about to explode into a massive turning point in the history of geology. Topic 4. The legacy in geology and the shift in modern science. As the years rolled on and new excavations kept happening, the weight of that stone evidence just got too big for the system to ignore or hide any longer. The Nova Scotia cliffs cemented themselves as the biggest open book of geology on the planet, forcing the international scientific community to rewrite the textbooks and accept the concepts of biological evolution. That extraordinary fossil record proved, once and for all, that Earth's transformations and the evolution of species weren't just theoretical guesses. They were a historical fact carved deep into nature itself. The Canadian secret Darwin used to shield himself from critics had finally won out over prejudice and denial. Honestly, this resounding victory for factual truth gives us a practical lesson about the power of consistency and delivering results that just can't be questioned in our own professional lives. In classics that revolutionized the world of investing and career management, like the acclaimed The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham, we learned that the market can ignore an asset's real value for a while, but price always catches up to the fundamentals in the long run. To apply that in your own journey today, stop chasing instant validation or shallow applause. Focus on building a technical foundation so solid and so bulletproof that the market has no choice but to recognize your worth sooner or later. The rediscovery of that geological treasure changed our understanding of the origins of life forever. The late acceptance of that monumental find opened the door to a golden age of scientific research across Canada, turning our country into a hub for brilliant minds. Here's the raw truth. The very same academic bodies that once tried to bury the Joggins reports ended up fighting for a chance to study every inch of those rocks, now considered sacred to modern science. Whenever a major discovery breaks free from the chains of institutional censorship, it leaves behind a trail of light that future generations of researchers can build on. Still, the true impact of this legacy on our society today, and its global recognition, had one final surprising chapter packed with deep lessons still to come. Topic 5. UNESCO Recognition and Lessons in Long-Term Vision. The ultimate recognition of this geological treasure crossed the boundaries of time, culminating in the Joggins Fossil Cliffs being named a UNESCO World Heritage Site, lifting Canada's pride to the very top of global science. The International Committee had to acknowledge that this wall of rock in Nova Scotia holds the most complete record of the Carboniferous period anywhere on the planet, containing every essential fossil that helped shape the theory of evolution. And yet here's the great irony of modern life. While thousands of scientists around the world revere this sanctuary, a lot of us forget that the greatest evidence in biological history is sitting right in our own backyard. Man, this monumental payoff is living proof that real value takes time, patience, and a whole lot of resilience to be fully understood and respected by everyone. This long overdue recognition teaches us something priceless about the importance of building projects with a long-term focus, protecting our minds from the shallow, instant gratification culture of today. In classic works on building wealth and personal growth, we learn that lasting success is a lot like the formation of rocky soil. It takes daily consistency and a clear vision of the future, without worrying about the lack of applause at the start of the journey. If you want to apply that practical wisdom to your financial life today, start focusing on investments and skills that compound over the years, instead of wearing yourself out chasing quick, illusory wins. The hidden secret of the Canadian cliffs isn't on the wind-worn surface. It's buried deep in layers built up with centuries of patience. Honoring this scientific milestone is an urgent invitation for Canadians to look back at their own history, with admiration, depth, and a real sense of patriotic pride. This saga of an archaeological find that saved Darwin's reputation proves our own land has always been at the center of humanity's biggest turning points, even when people tried to bury those achievements behind closed doors. Man, it's on all of us to keep that flame burning, applying that same mindset of chasing the truth and staying strategically consistent in our everyday decisions. The timeline of this geological mystery wraps up here, leaving behind an eternal legacy carved into stone. But our journey to uncover the biggest traps and secrets of the system is just getting started. Conclusion. Faced with this fascinating revelation about the Nova Scotia cliffs, here's the real truth. You can't keep ignoring the fact that life's biggest answers and opportunities take real depth to uncover. Classics like Think and Grow Rich teach us that true success belongs to those who go after hidden facts and push forward with unshakable persistence. So now the question's on you. Are you going to keep settling for the surface-level stories the system feeds you? Or are you going to start digging deeper to build your own timeline of achievements? I'd love to hear your take on this Canadian secret that backed up Darwin's theory. So drop your honest thoughts in the comments below, and let's get this conversation going. And if you want to sharpen your mind and keep exploring rare stories like this one, subscribe to the channel right now and hit that notification bell to join our exclusive circle of thinkers.